My first video on basic reloading tools for old military cartridges I got up on YouTube, and I come to the decision that I'm going to cover different older military rifles, and I'll cover reloading for each one of them. But because it would be kind of redundant and repetitive to show each step, I figured I'd make a series of videos in steps showing each stage of reloading, and that way you can just, for each cartridge, I'll tell you about the cartridge and any kind of particular or specific things needed for that cartridge, and then you can refer back to these videos on your basic reloading steps. In the first video I covered the equipment you would need. This video here I like to go over sources, getting the equipment, and your work area. Basically, when I'm reloading, you're going to need some sort of a steady, heavy bench. Something stable, especially when resizing and that. There's a lot of pressure exerted on these presses, and it's got to be mounted. This bench behind me here is something my father picked up at work. It was just some old equipment they used to sell off, and the maintenance guys would buy it. It's about 10 or 11 feet long, or 12 feet actually. And it's got a couple, 3 little things, one mounted on each end, one in the middle. And I've used this since I was 17 years old. And it's been with me everywhere I've lived. It used to be down in the basement of my parents' house and that. And I haven't found nothing to beat it yet. So you get a good steady bench. And as for the equipment, depending on what you're doing, what I'm specifically doing is we're all going to do everything in little single stages and one operation at a time, sizing, priming that. There are progressive reloaders that every time you crank the handle and index, it indexes over and a finished round will come out. I'm not going to cover that because I've done it and I have a progressive reloader, but that was more for like when I shot a high volume of pistol. And there are certain things about progressive reloaders. You have to be a little bit more cautious. You have to be very careful when you're doing it, because you're doing 4 or 5 operations at once, and so there's 4 or 5 different things that can go wrong. So we're just going to do the basic thing here. Now I got this bench which I use and still come back to using it. I have something else that Lee had I'll show you in a minute, another type of small bench. As for acquiring the equipment, you can always buy it new, okay? If you're kind of on a budget and want to save some money, used equipment is just as good as new. Some of these things I bought used. eBay has a lot of different things, either new or used for sale, but I found the price to be very high because with all the fees and the PayPal fees and that, people have to get top dollar for their used items to make any money. So a lot of times you can go to yard sales, flea markets, if a gun store or something is in your area is closing out or going out of business, which recently in one town, one place did fold up, you can find reloading equipment that's used or whatever. Gun shows is another place to go. And I've been to auctions, just estate auctions, and I mean the stuff goes cheap. You can get a press like this, I see it go $10, $15 or something, it's a $100 press. So you can get your stuff used or buy it new. It depends, on how much you want to spend. You can scrounge up some stuff, or you can just save yourself some time and buy it all, from an online wholesaler. And then when I go through these videos, I'll just tell you to refer back to the video, say on full-length sizing. That's what I'm going to do next. And I'll go show you this other bench that I bought and it's a Lee product and kind of the pros and cons of that. Okay, this is like a reloading stand that Lee sells. They're on sale, and I think it's because I thought it'd be a neat thing to have, get me upstairs in the house out of the garage now with the weather, but I kind of didn't like it. What you do here is you mount things on like a little wedge. I don't have one handy here. And they had these real flimsy little screws, and I tried putting heavier screws I could tighten down. I only had these long ones. And you put the wedge in there and lock your device on. The idea is there's a quick change. You can have like your press, you can have a lubricizer, priming tool, whatever, and you push them up in and lock them down. The bolts and the hardware they sent with this kit were pretty flimsy. Then I went and made, like they suggested, a little shelf which kind of extends it out, gives you room to put your stuff on there. And then I had trouble with it, and I had to take that all down, and just a lot of problems. They had little brackets, and to weight it down, all those little boxes are full of cast bullets, so there's about 100 pounds of lead there anchoring this, which anchored it pretty good. I mean, it wouldn't move, but the problem I had is that whenever I apply pressure, the things would slide out of here. Now, you could modify this or change it. I just ended up going back to the bench. It wasn't a bad idea, but I didn't really like it. I wasn't getting the sturdiness that I needed, and so I kind of scrapped this idea. Okay, so it's kind of up to you. I don't recommend this product. Just a good sturdy bench would help you out. And that's about it. We're going to go on now to the different stages on my different reloading videos.